Good day everyone, I hope you're well. My name is Nick and I'm just going to welcome you to another chapter of zxspectrum games reviewed on the channel. Yes, 1001 through to 1050. Now when I started I didn't think we'll get this high, but we're going up and up and up, so thank you for watching them all. So with no further ado, here's a summary of the last 50 games spectrum wise covered on the channel. So we continue with a game from Jarrell's software called Critical Mass, an interesting one. It's like a space like alien planet shooter, but you control this ship going forever horizontally, hopefully, to get to the end. If your ship gets blown up, you turn into this little spaceman here, which is a very teeny tiny graphic, although have lots of character to it. You have to get back to the base and then get another ship and continue. Yes, you've got a limited amount of time to actually do your challenge, but I got the idea that this game is doable. Now here's a homebrew called Princess Rescue. I think controlled in basic, which is a nice idea, but because it's in basic, it's very frustrating in the controls. But they've done well in what they've got available to them. Feels very much like a typing game, one that you would type in from a magazine you would get. And although it's interesting to see, it's not really one I'd really want to go back to any length of time. Essentially, you need to rescue the princess there, or get to a door, then rescue the princess, or vice versa. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, heavily influenced by a Defender. It doesn't move too badly, this. I'm never very good at these sort of games. You need like top reflexes, and I seem to die every 5 seconds. But you do have smart bombs, you can work out how to release them. So as Defender's clones go, this isn't too bad. I would like a few extra colours there, but you know, it's zxspectrum and the aliens are green, so if you want Defender from the arcades, then this isn't a bad one to maybe search out and add to your collection and indeed have a look at. Nothing to do with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the movie. This is PAC-HIC, a Pac-Man game, but those set underwater. Interesting, I do like it when they do their own theme. Also come out on the Commodore 64, which we've also looked at there. Instead of being chased by ghosts, you're being chased by octopuses, and I would have played this a little bit. I think a good change from the usual Pac-Man fare. Not bad. So yeah, I would recommend tracking this one down. And then we go back to homebrew Organic Matter. Very quiet this version, but very stylish, like a lot of the homebrews are. You need to escape from this planet by solving puzzles and talking to people and shooting there. You know, it lacks a bit of atmosphere for me. Maybe that's where music would have got involved, but the map's been cleverly designed, it is varied, and it is a good piece of work. But, you know, you need to put the time in to get anywhere with it. So, you know, okay, in a sea of amazing homebrews around the place. Rommel's Revenge, this is like, well, Battle Command from the arcades. You control a tank in a 3D environment. Reviewed a few of these. Rommel was a German tank captain. But anyway, go around searching, shooting tanks with your radar up the top there, and don't get blown up yourself. It's level pegging with the other Battle Command or Battle Tank games out there, so you know you get a bit of enjoyment. It's all a bit blue. I'm not a fan of that sort of like colour variants, but there we go. Centropods, based on the arcade cabinet Centipede from the arcades, was to have a sequel in the arcades at least called Millipede. This one fills up with mushrooms a bit too much to shoot out the way, but if you're unfamiliar with this game, the idea is to shoot this all the body segments of this centipede coming at you, and also avoid the spiders going up and down and other bugs. Shoot them for extra bonus points. You know, you're a snake at the bottom, by the way. It took me a while to work that one out. It's okay about being magnificent, but it will give you centipede. After the War. Now, it's attempted to do quite a lot here. We reviewed this game on the Commodore Amiga, and it was a little bit dark, being an Atari ST port. This one is slightly different. It's loads and loads of detailed background to move about here, which is nice to see, but it does suffer in the gameplay a little bit. I'm surprised it can go as quick as it can do. Another one of these ones which is nice to see, but you know, as an overall experience, as an event playing the game, it lacks a little bit. You know, a kid's imagination, if they had that back in the day, they might have added a lot of story to it. Star Warrior, another like early space shooter. It's all in different levels. This first one we need to shoot these like rock things coming at us, but there will be aliens too there, and you progress as far as you possibly can. It scrolls quite nicely. See those stars in the background winking in and out in their different sort of like colours, so that is quite nice. A good retro game. If you like any of these reviews, do check out all these mini reviews. Check out the main review in the zxspectrum playlist there. ZX Frogger based on Frogger, of course, from the arcades. It's not using too much of the screen, and I found the controls a little bit tricky on this one. Some people might master it because you're trying to focus on such a small screen, and the controls aren't that responsive. It rather killed it for me. But it does jolly look nice ZX Frogger, but there are better, more playable examples there. You're up against the time each time. You need to feel the lily pads up the top there with 5 frogs. Getting across the traffic, of course, and then getting across the perilous water. Cruise attack, another missile command clone, of which there are quite a few now. This one doesn't play too bad. They live and die by their controls. Unfortunately, on the ZX Spectrum, this game plays better if you've got a mouse. It works a little bit better on the Amiga. When things get a little bit more tricky, you are really up against it here to try and get any success there. But you know, if you're a kid and you saw Missile Attack in the arcades and then played this, I think you would have been fairly happy with the result. In 8-bit town, it's not doing too bad with what's available. Creepy Crawler, another Centipede clone, and I prefer this one to Centropods. Basically, because the screen changes colour, and that was good on the ZX Spectrum as a kid. You feel like you was getting some distance when the whole screen changed, although essentially it's the same game. Again, shoot the mushrooms. That doesn't mean too many in your way like Centropods was. Then get to the next one. But yeah, it's Centipede for 1 to 2 players, I believe. And look at that, we're zipping through. It goes for all the colours of the spectrum. You can loop around quite easily. Ascend, another homebrew from Inafuto. Basically, you must scroll from up the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, avoiding all the enemies. You can move these cyan blocks. They help you every now and again to change the direction of the people coming at you. A nice tune to go all the way through. It's highly addictive. And what's good about this game, when you lose all your lives, you can continue again from where you left off or restart again if you want to. So you know you'll be rushing through in next to no time. Maybe check out the review of that and see how far I got. Zybex, game that was better on the Commodore 64 maybe, but it was a horizontal scroller shooter. It's alright for the era. It's nice controlling a spaceman rather than the normal ships. The guy's a little bit big. There's no animation as he goes backward and forward. It's incredibly difficult, like a lot of these would be, but it's for 1 to 2 players, and if player 2's there, you can play simultaneously, so that would add to the fun. You pick up upgrades as you go along. It's a space shooter, a horizontal one that you might not have come across, so you know, track that one down. Ghost Hunt, well, you can immediately see it's a very basic Pac-Man clone, of which there were loads back in the day, and we've reviewed maybe dozens and dozens and dozens of them on various systems. This one is fairly basic. It doesn't do much more than what you would expect. It's a single 8x8 graphics cyan. It's not moving at all, but you know, if you wanted Pac-Man back in the day, this was it. But Atari Soft's Pac-Man in 1984, the official release, and in particular Ms. Pac-Man, would have given you a lot more buck for your money. GHERBERT's Groundhog in Save the Date. Now there might be some other GHERBERT Groundhog games in the future. This is very, very busy. There's a lot of detail on each screen, but essentially you need to collect a number of items in this very detailed map in order to go on a date. Yes, I know, it's a groundhog. Avoid getting hit by any of the enemies. Really nicely done this. As I say, as detail goes, they could have left a lot of the screen blank but didn't. You need to collect items and one by one and then bring them back to the central place. KRAZY Kong, based on Donkey Kong from the arcades, where it was Super Mario or Jumpman back in the day. This is a Spectrum iteration, and you know, King Kong is a little bit red up there. Maybe he's got sunburned, but all the levels are there, the 4 you would expect from the arcades. Jump over the barrels, avoid getting hit, and rescue the girl each time. You're scaling a building, get to the top, and you're victorious, maybe. But there you go, KRAZY Kong. PIPPO, a nice, interesting homebrew. This one, you control this odd-like character bouncing around. But the idea is, you can see the squares on this one started off as yellow. We have to change them to white. As soon as we've done that, we're on to the next stage, and it gets progressively more difficult. Sometimes you've got to circle around 2 colours and avoid all the enemies as well. There's power-ups as well. Devilishly addictive. A real nice game to play. Lots of great homebrews coming out very, very recently. Again, good to see and good fun too. It's Inafuto again. You might recognise this music. It's K-Corm. Borrows some of the enemies from these other homebrews, but essentially we need to ring these stars without getting killed ourselves. The more we ring in one go, the more points, or you can do them individually if you want to. I do like seeing Inafuto's games, and I'm quite excited to see what he comes up with next. In this 50 roundup, there are quite a few there. You can download them from Spectrum Computing there, which I indeed did, so check him out, Inafuto. Rolling Thunder from the arcades. We reviewed this game on a number of systems there. This one isn't too bad for ZX Spectrum. It's very monochrome, but that's what you would expect there. Commodore Amiga version was absolutely terrible, but anyway, this isn't too bad for Spectrum Fair back in the day, and I would have played it quite a bit, I would think. There was Rolling Thunder 2 and 3, which also, well, didn't come out on the Spectrum. They come out on the Mega Drive. If you want to check out the reviews there to see what you were missing there. CARMANIA, a very basic early race game. We control this red car going up the screen, and the idea is simple. All we need to do is avoid as many cars as possible. Whenever we overtake them, you get sort of like points. You've got a certain time span to overtake as many as you can, and that's essentially it. So there's not a great to it there. You only score points when you're in high gear, not when you're in low gear, but sometimes you need low gear to avoid disaster. It plays tricks in me, this game. Anyway, HOVERCAR Simulator didn't come out back in the day. It was supposed to come out from Codemasters, but it's been recently retrieved, and it doesn't look quite finished really. I'm controlling the car in the middle, if you're getting a little bit confused which one is me. It's a very slow moving obstacle race there. Don't let the enemy bash you onto obstacles, and you know, it does change colour quite subtly every now and again, as you can see here. It's using quite a lot of well, of the HUD. HAVOC, this is based on another game from the arcades, which we'll come to a little bit later. It's a 3D isometric flying game. It keeps the single colours, which is fine, but essentially avoid the objects. It's a game of skill. It's frustrating in some sections, but by shooting some items you get more fuel, and that's essential to get to the other end. Because it is isometric, you can't see a great deal in front of you, which is a bit of a shame, so it takes a bit of learning. Zombie, based loosely on the film Dawn of the Dead, and maybe Shaun of the Dead as well, but not Shaun of the Dead wasn't out back then. You've landed in your helicopter. It's a point and click game. You've landed in a helicopter with 3 other people trying to escape zombies on this shopping centre, and by going around different shops collecting the right items, you trying to survive. It's very tricky to work out what to do. In order to complete it, you need to donate quite a lot of time to the thing. I found it a bit laborious, but if you're into zombies, maybe your mind can do wonders with it. Lift is in a photo again. Essentially, we need to single screen game. We need to collect all the flags in order to complete the screen and avoiding the baddies. There's different lifts each time and each screen in different configurations. Music is very, very shared, so you might have heard this on some in other Inner-Futos games. But yeah, another cutesy cute one. Very addictive again, like all these games are. Maybe a bit too cute for some people, and you know, it does reuse graphics quite a lot from the other games. Ricochet, influenced by, well, of course, Breakout. My favourite Breakout clone is Batty, of course, but this moves a bit slower. What makes it different is if you miss a ball, you're not immediately out the game. There's a force shield at the back, and you can hit that a number of times before you are out. But anyway, you can go up and down the screen. It scrolls okay. It's nice and smooth, so I can't fault it for that. It's a nice name as well. Ricochet. Sounds like some sort of Irish comedian, maybe, but I'm sure that's joke done a million times. Pieces of 8. This was as a cover tape. The character is huge, and the room for jumping is small, which together make it a little bit awkward. It wouldn't look great from the screenshots, but playing it is not very good. There are 2 other games using the same engine, which we'll come to here as well. Like the theme, don't like the idea of the game, and it's very cruel. Some screens you've got energy that's going down, others you seem to die straight away, even hitting the same enemy, so that makes it a frustration fest, and I don't want to play it a great deal. It's Cabot from our man Inner-Futo again, influenced possibly by Boulder Dash. In this one, you've got to cut through this yellow stuff, avoiding the enemies and getting, well, hopefully hitting them with rocks, but essentially getting all these goodies there. Right, I think I'm doing okay here. You might recognise the character again, reused from other games. But that's okay, I'll let him off because the game is so addictive. Mission Jupiter. We're on Jupiter. We're on the surface of Jupiter. I didn't know Jupiter had a surface, but anyway, we're going around essentially jumping over obstacles, a bit like a moon patrol, I suppose, but instead you're using a spaceman. He can hover, although he's only got a certain amount of jet power. I played this eventually with a Pokemon, it's so tricky. Colours are interesting, green and red here to begin with, although I think it does eventually change. A nice game to have got, actually. It's got a bit of retro. I didn't know about this one back in the day. SAS Combat Assault, again using the same engine as Pieces of 8. Again, I think this was an actual physical release, or was it a cover tape? One or the other. We're in number 10 Downing Street this time, collecting hand grenades there because someone's put them in. Not much room to jump, not much room to manoeuvre, although the graphics are quite good fun. I'd probably best to watch someone else play this and have to play it yourself. If it was a cover tape, I might have played it for a bit, and then I might use the tape to tape something else. Aerial, a bit of a departure. You might recognise the music a little bit. It's the same sort of style, but it is different. It's Inafuto. It's a 2D horizontal scroller shooter, take input I suppose from games like Scramble and Penetrator, and at the end of each level, or mostly, there'll be an end of level boss, normally some airships to try and destroy. It's fairly easy to start off with, and then the screen starts filling up with quite a lot of bad guys. Here comes an airship for us to destroy. Check all these games out in the ZxSpectrum playlist. It's Zaxxon. Now this was the arcade one, which HAVOC was based on. This is trying to use a bit more colour. It's got a rather annoying sounds, and I think out of the two, I probably prefer just HAVOC, because this is a bit colour clash, and it goes very, very slow in stages, especially the space stages, there where you're trying to get a variety of other ships. The Spectrum doesn't seem to have enough memory to be able to recreate this with any sort of like speed or playability, so choose HAVOC, although both of them aren't perfect. War Machine is a platformer. You've landed on a asteroid. This is the 48K version. 128K version has a little bit of sound, but it's a little bit unwieldy, a little bit soulless as well. Essentially, you need to find parts of some particular machine in order to save the day. It's a vital asteroid for us, but the aliens have taken over. I think it provides some vital mineral or something, but instantly forgettable, although it has got some nice animations on the main character. Wonderful Dizzy, a very recent homebrew by the Oliver twins, based on the original Dizzy World series. It's absolutely fantastic colour in this, amazing music, all the puzzle elements are there. Now look at that colour there. It takes influences from the film The Wizard of Oz, which is a bad thing there, but yeah, I think it's fairly easy to complete if you donate some time to it, or indeed have a guide. I just played it as a first person on my first go, as they would do. Merlin. Recognise this? Yes, it's that same engine again from SAS Combat Assault and Pieces of 8. It's the Wizard. I think this might have been the one that was the only commercial release out of the three, but yeah, same problems again. But having said that, if you like the other two, you'll love this. My favourite game with a large sprite is the Trapdoor, because you know, he's not just jumping around in very small areas trying to find where the hell he's going to. Merlin. Run baby run. This is what I like about the ZxSpectrum. There's a lot of curios here, and this is no different. I'm the Cyan car here, racing around Bolton Gasworks, although there are some other fantastic locations as well. We're being chased by the police. We must trick them to crash into each other, and you see that yellow car at the bottom. Once we do that, that will start firing us as we try to escape the map. Huddersfield Foundry, well, you know, they thought long and hard about the locations. It's a surprise that Grand Theft Auto or Rockstar haven't done a GTA series based here. Speccy Man, yes, it's better than the other Spectrum game, well, the Pac-Man game we looked at. You can hear the sounds, that's very good, close to the arcades. Speccy Man, the maze always stays the same, although it gets slightly quicker. It's always my complaint with these sort of like games, but I have been reminded that the original Pac-Man, the arcades did that. It was only Mus Pac-Man which departed from that and gave you different colour mazes, so fair enough. It's not a bad one there if you want for an accurate Pac-Man game. You can't go wrong with that. Fox Fights Back, a little bit original. You're controlling this fox here. Good animation there. He's trying to collect food to get back to his foxy girlfriend. There's lots of Snoopy type characters who are shooting at you the whole time, but overall a little bit frustrating, a little bit well, lackluster is the wrong word, but I don't think it would have kept me entertained for any length of time. But you know, as I drown that fox there in maybe in whatever it is I'm trying to do it for. There we go. In protest, that's the word I want. Well, I think my brain is almost 50 years old. Garfield Winter's Tale. Yes. It's a collection of mini-games, this, which don't really inspire that much. Here is the skiing, which is probably my favourite one to do. We're racing Odie the dog down this slope, If we do that, we manage to get to a lasagna factory. We can get extra energy by eating that pie that John's was handing out. Yeah, there's a chocolate factory. There's an ice skating around as well, but they all move pretty slow. PAC-HIC Rehab. Some great homebrews in this collection of 50. It's an evolution of the original game PAC-HIC, which I think might come out around about 1986. We need to avoid the ghosts with Pac-Man with a drink problem, but we must find a wrench in order to open, escape this hellhole of a maze. There's different ghosts that move in different directions. Some are home in on you, some are just go in a particular predefined direction. Take some thinking. I almost completed it on my first go, so it makes me think it won't take long to do. Thunderblade, a rather tricky game from the arcades to try and recreate, but indeed they sure had a go on it. The game is rather destroyed by the awkward control mechanism to go up and down and fire at the same time. I spent most of my time getting destroyed over and over again. The Amiga version suffered exactly the same problem. Mega Drive was a little bit easier, possibly because you've got extra buttons that you can do there, but I think that was called Super Thunderblade on that one. But yeah, one to avoid there. PAC-HIC is that original game that came out back in the day, and we must fill the whole maze up with these hearts here. The ghosts move in very, very strange ways, but you can try and trick them. I think the music playing is the final countdown, and that's nice to see. Plays that without any slowdown at all. Instead of power pills, we have got these, I suppose, bottles of whiskey, because Pac-Man has got a drink problem in this game. When you kill the ghosts, though, they do rather spawn in rather awkward areas. Exmazoid, collection of Christmas games that we reviewed back in that time. Quite a tricky game. I didn't get off the first level, but I think I would now. You're controlling this atom, which is the right circle. As soon as you've collected all the items, this Eugene type character will come down. I say Eugene, similar to level 5 of Manic Miner, onto that yellow box. You must get to the yellow box before he actually comes that completely up. So ideally you need to be getting the top sweets first and then work your way down and erase there. Bit of inertia to contend with also, so it's not the easiest game in the world for the newbie. Christmas Cracker, first game I've played involving Egghead, by Jonathan Caldwell. We will look at the other ones there, but essentially it's got a Christmas theme. You've got to rescue all the members of the Eurogamer team, who I'm a little bit unfamiliar with, but they're here. It's not a very hard task to do, and you should be doing it on your first or second go. I think I might have done it on my first go, so there you go. That's how good I am. Dig through the snow, rescue the certain characters. There's Tom's bedroom there. A Rally Xmas. I love this game. What a curio. It's an obstacle fast racing game, and you must jump over stuff, but you're controlling not a car or a spaceship, you're controlling a big turkey. Hooray! It's very, very addictive. Look how smooth the thing is. You want to get a bit further each time you get to the end. If you fail to get over an obstacle or crash into it, your turkey will be splattered, and you don't want that on Christmas Day. Really nice to run into this one, it really was. Guntus, it's Inafuto again. I've really done him a good service on this 50. Probably influenced by games like Gallagher, I suppose. Space, go up and down, shoot as many waves as you possibly can to get to the next stage. They get progressively more difficult and cunning in the way that they will attack you. It's not the smoothest of movers in the world compared to some games, but anyway, music doesn't really fit. The jolly music doesn't really fit the gameplay on this occasion, or I'd like to say it a bit more sinister. Taxi, one could say maybe arguably that Crazy Taxi wouldn't have existed with games like this, or Space Taxi on the Commodore 64, but this is 2D. You're a taxi driver. You must pick up fares and take them to where they need to go, and this square will gradually fill up with more and more people. Unfortunately, the red lorries will kamikaze into your bottom as soon as they see you, which makes it a bit difficult. So basically, before you die, as a taxi driver, collect as many fares as you possibly can to get to the next stage. Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, known as rodeo games in some ports, it's a collection of mini-games. The Spectrum version I prefer to the Amiga version. It seems to fit 8-bit well. When it comes to mini-games in the Wild West, I really like games like Kane, but this isn't too bad. It's got good music to the thing. You might get an individual game which you like more than others. I certainly felt that with future games, and other ones you don't know what the hell's going on. But I would have enjoyed this throwing knives at this woman first of all. Good luck, woman. Yokai Monk, very interesting game using AGD. I haven't seen anything like this before, and I love originality. Basically, you control this sprite here, you can see moving around on Ghost. He leaps into the bodies of these other animals, and creatures, and you must kill them all to release a Buddha on the top right. You can see there biding this time, which opens a door once you've killed them all. You can only leap into different bodies a number of times, so don't waste them, and that's where the skill involves as we get progressively more difficult there. Egghead. The first of the Egghead games. I think this might have been a cover tape there. All single screen. Collect all the items to get to the next stage. Rather cute. It's before he's got his somersault jump in this one. So there was to be a bit of an evolution as the Egghead games went through. When you think of eggs, you think of Dizzy. I didn't really play these ones back in the day. Didn't know they existed. But they are nice to see now from a retrospect point of view, looking back. So yeah, I hope you like seeing those 50 games. That's zxspectrum games. I can't believe it. 1001 to 1050. We'll keep going as long as I can breathe in and out and got somewhere to live and got electricity and all that stuff. We'll keep doing it. Hope you're enjoying it. Thank you to the subscribers. So please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and that keeps me going. Also, huge thank you to the members. I'll shut up now because if you're watching these all in a row, you might be stuck for time. So next time, take great care of yourself. Thanks for watching, and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.